Contemporary Calgary is really pleased to present the exhibition Rerouting. This exhibition stemmed from a in-residence residence with artists from all around the world. The exhibition really focuses on ideas of connection that people felt was lacking during the pandemic. Artists employed lots of technology, but also lots of tactile physical objects as well as approaches to find new ways, new strategies to resist things like isolation and depression, but also really strong human connection. There's a number of works that really do take the technical side of this, including people like Matt Waddell and Laura Anzola, who's created a digital glove, to Vishal Kumaraswamy, who really investigated ideas of artificial intelligence and bots that have this slippage with language that we communicate with as robots to human and that sort of connection. You might consider Catalina Tuca, who is very interested in the way we adapted to the pandemic emotionally. She asked people to think about their emotions and try to identify what shape they might be, what color they might be, that were then created as physical objects in the space. Another connection was with Cherrie, who translated a dance piece by Yvonne Rainer that she asked regular people, non-dancers, to try to adapt their movements to this choreography, often all over Zoom and in the comfort of their own home. It was a really interesting exercise in translating movement and thinking about dance and movement as a way of adapting to this pandemic moment. Orsolya Gal spent much of her pandemic in her garden in Romania. She's also a puppeteer who did a lot of shadow puppets, and she created this amazing cube that has beautiful shadows of plants and foliage and things like that. That becomes a very poetic and romantic moment of solace during this time. Yotam Peled is also a dancer and a performer, circus trained, and he created this piece called 2x2, which is ostensibly the size of his living room. This is where he was performing during the pandemic. He couldn't go to theaters and stages. The objects you're going to see here are things he used in his performance, kettlebells, this mirrored surface to articulate his movement. Stephanie Mae Hong was very interested in exploring her feelings during the pandemic as a Chinese American and dealing with this idea of belonging at this particular moment. This was a period where there was a lot of anti-Asian rhetoric that she really felt was impacting her personally. She created this persona as a Chinese cowgirl with the complete Western garb that helps her sort of articulate this idea of these sort of cultural shifts and where she belongs or where she doesn't. Weleski is very interested in ideas of social practice. She works a lot with mutual aid societies. And in particular, she's working with some across the country, and she has created a couple of works here. One that involves yeast culture that's been made to create sourdough, and that starter has traveled around as an instigator of different dialogues with mutual aid groups. In the same vein, she has 99 bottles of kvass on the wall, which is a fermented drink that she intends to see shared as part of dialogue with these mutual aid groups. Huidi Zhang has created some really interesting body of sculptures. She's really keen on this idea of finding an intersection between labor and play. She spent a great number of months involved in Animal Crossing, this video game where you're ostensibly put to work as this cute little avatar that goes around buying things and building things and having relationships with other avatars. She created a body of work that sort of draws from the aesthetics of this video game world, creating a number of objects that seem somewhat like simple machines, maybe a machine for digging, but really draw on ideas of video game and play and labor all wrapped together as one. Rhonda Weppler and Trevor Mahovsky have created a body of work around pom-poms. Very interested in craft. The pom-poms are available as kits for people to get involved and make their own pom-poms in the gallery, while also sharing it, and that sort of connection with people around the world making their own pom-poms becomes an important part of this as well. So collectively, all these works really do hit home that whether your approach is through high-tech digital means, the internet and AI, or whether it's really tangible sculptures or social practice, at the heart of this moment that we've all lived through was this real need for connection. We hope you enjoy Rerouting as much as we do. Thanks very much.